third episode of 20 Minutes of Coffee. Live for members of this YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is mine, Ken Napzok. And we like to pour a cup of coffee, get out there and take a look at the world. And oh boy. And have some thoughts on just sitting back and just reading and learning and not engaging. But also have thoughts on paying attention. And that's where we'll start today. First of all, shout out to those watching live like The Real McCoy, David McKay, Michael McCarcel checking in, but he's got class. And Michael has no need to apologize. No need to apologize. When I started this show, I thought I'm going to sit down. I'm going to have a weird angle. I'm going to pour some coffee. I'm going to have a bathrobe on. Most of the time, I haven't even showered. I haven't even woken up. We're just sit down, 20 minutes, do what I would do without the cameras rolling. Look at the world. Look at the news. And I got to be honest, I thought when I started this would be a fun way to just have some conversations with you all and myself about Taylor Swift dating NFL players. Like, well, that'd be wacky, right? Let's just look at the silly news. But man, last week we started the show and there's things we needed to talk about. And I'll stop there when I say need to talk about. Today, with what's going on in the world and bringing that over, blasts rocking Gaza's Israel retaliates. This was the big, I don't even know if you call it a story. This is history in front of us over this weekend. And also you can see how the world works. Blast rock Gaza as Israel retaliates. Also the Phillies and Braves today. And Diamondbacks and Dodgers. Game 2 of the series begins today. This is the kind of the world that we are in, aren't we? It's all hitting you at once. It's all right there in your face. And I'm happy. I'm very happy to be able to have shows, whether they're just by myself here for a smaller audience of channel supporters and public later on. I'm glad to have shows that I can actually address what's going on in the world. I think for a long time, I got started in the movie news business on the digital media side, and it was all fun and games until it wasn't, until there was things in the world happening here at home, abroad, that factored into a lot of what the art, factored into the art that we were covering or factored into the art that we were breaking down. It just felt weird to sit on a set talking about movies and not addressed what was going on. I understand sometimes you don't need to. Sometimes it's just a show that you're talking about movies, and I think that's fine too. It's a delicate balance. I just like that I can sit down with all of you here for just a few minutes and talk about it. And this thing going on right now is not what I would call a passive story. Like I said, I'm saying history happening right now. That sounds like a melodramatic statement. History is unfolding in front of us, but it is. This is something that will be talked about for years. This is something that could change not just Israel, Gaza, and the Middle East. It could change the world. And I think it's important to pay attention to it. I think it's important to have some thoughts on it. I also think it's important to not necessarily feel as though you need to run to Twitter, X, Twix, as we like to call it in honor of our late friend Gareth. It's okay to just sit and kind of take this in, take in the horror, take in the destruction, take in the violence, and just kind of try to process it as best you can and not barf up your hot take. This is not a hot take story. This is not like last week we were talking about Speaker of the House. That's got ramifications for the world. In fact, it's not tied into it like, and that sounds like a conspiracy theory, but it's like it's part of the tapestry of what's going on. We don't have a Speaker of the House. We have some military promotions being upheld by a grown man who still likes to be referred to as coach. We have that stuff going on. It's all tapestry, but this to me is not something that needs me, a comedian in a bathrobe and a branded beanie, to give all of my takes. I don't know all my takes. I can speak in general terms and say, two-state solutions always seem to be good to me. I understand both sides have claims to the land that go back well beyond my time and well beyond my understanding. A lot of it's been, filtered down to simple talking points over the years. I grew up in evangelical church, conservative political environment, and you were just taught you support Israel, that the country that turns its back on Israel will be destroyed, and that factors in end time prophecy and all this stuff. That was drilled into my head from early days, and so I kind of I've always had that approach of stand by Israel, and with what's gone on the last couple of days, like how could you not look at that and think just what happened, what Hamas did? It's horrible. But also, you don't want to then cut off the conversation, cut off further learning to what's gone on in the region and what other people's view of Israel is versus the actual people, Palestinians in Gaza. And it just spills out from there, and it's beyond complicated. It's beyond my pay grade, as the joke would say. But I do think it's important. I think it's okay for us all to just kind of try to pay attention and try to form some thoughts on it. But also, you don't need to respond to everything Elon says about it. You don't need to respond. If your favorite brand of crackers puts out a statement that they support Israel or stand with Israel, I don't think you need to attack the cracker company. The NFL put out a statement. Everyone feels that they need to, and I actually respect where that comes from. I think it's more important these days to be engaged, and important to be connected in the bigger world. But it's also important to realize that this one, maybe your tweets can take a time out. And I understand. I was joking with a friend this morning. We were talking about this thing over text. I'm like, I'm also about to go on my little YouTube show and have a conversation about maybe not having a conversation. And the delicate balance of the sin of silence versus silently learning. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. Live chat check in here. Maddie Gunner, our UK correspondent, says, how many times do we have to wake up to this shit like this before we say, okay, what are we doing here? Yeah, and waking up to the absolute horror. That's part of what I even wanted to talk about. And I'm sorry, I got these news stories up. I was going to look at some of the updates here, and I'll read those here. I've been on CNN. I've been on BBC News. And choose your source of news. There's one company I would say don't choose, but I don't care. Just get your news from somewhere. And then, to what you're saying, Maddie. Hey, Kingsport Cal channel members here. Thanks for checking in from Kingsport, Tennessee, Cal. Yeah, that's part of what happens to us. I think, Maddie, is this for me was Saturday morning, waking up and you're just doing the scroll. We all do the scroll, and there's silly stuff. There's dog videos. There's golden retrievers getting fast food with ducks, and you go, what a cute video. And then there's this, and then you start to see it unfold, right? You start to see it unfold with real time, which is why I still feel there's that great power in social media. I think there's good and bad, obviously. There's a hot take. Good and bad, obviously, of what social media has brought. But I think the immediacy of news is part of the importance. And the downfall of X, Twitter, can be seen in how fast the lies get out, how fast the wrong news gets out, but also how fast we all can kind of not check it ourselves. And I'm not talking about doing your own research type of a-holes. I'm talking about Saturday morning as I'm laying in bed looking at this and horror is unfolding in front of me. Already videos were being shared of buildings being destroyed and tanks being destroyed, and a lot of those videos are already proven to be 2 years old, from Ukraine, false. And then you see these stories get spread around at the speed of lies. The $6 billion that Biden gave to Saudi, and that's not true at all. And you can find the actual story behind that. And I think that's part of what I think my reaction is too. I think it's important to have thoughts about this and say it and maybe tweet it every now and then to the world, or at least talk about it with your friends, or go on a YouTube show with your branded cup of coffee and talk about it. But I think it's also important just to, hey, maybe wait. Maybe suss out some of the information that's coming your way. Matty Gunner says, cough, daily fail, cough. That's, yeah. Yeah. Daily fail. That's the UK version of of our Fox and friends over here. For those interested in any kind of updates, I don't know what else to do, and that's the thing too, is I don't know. I just sometimes don't know what else to do. You can send some money. You can be horrified. You can attack someone on Twitter for sharing their somewhat reasoned belief. I think here I'll go out on a limb. I think what happened, particularly in the early moments, what's gone on at that music festival, I would call that pretty violently terroristic and horrible, right? Hot. What a so brave stance for me. But that's about all I can think right now, because the rest is about processing it and trying to read what's going on. And I'm slightly worried, could be is it 12 steps from World War III? I think everything's 12 steps from World War III. I think that's always been the case. I think maybe because I was a 80s kid raised doing, nuclear bomb drills, that it always just feels like we're 12 steps from World War III. And I don't want to push it to 11. I don't want anyone to push it to 11. 5 minutes ago, as of this recording, we're going live at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Channel members like Matty Gunner and Kingsport Cal join us and hanging out, as well as David McKay and the real McCoy. The Gaza Strip appears to be under heavy bombardment on Monday evening. Yeah, thanks for that update. Here's a story I don't have time to read for. 16 minutes ago, CNN posted, how did Israel and Palestinians get here? Well, how much time do you got to read that story? This is one of the concerning things. At least 4 Latin American citizens dead. Rest in peace after Hamas attack on Israel. And there's down, I was seeing earlier, Mexico sending aircraft to evacuate 300 citizens in Israel. We also had the French confirming that they've had a citizen lost there as well. French Foreign Ministry confirmed second citizen dead in Hamas attacks. And then we have... we know that now some U.S. citizens are there as well. That's where it starts getting. That's where it starts getting a little extra scary for me. That may be unfounded fears, by the way. I always recommend some good YouTube channels to check out. I'm a big fan of Bo, the Fifth Column. You want some just reasoned, calm, informative reactions to stories like this. And he's done, I think, one video on this, I think Sunday. Because that's one of his things too. Let's just kind of wait. The world doesn't need a video from me about this right now. The world doesn't need even me, Ken Napzok, sitting there, some guy having a fist on the desk hot take about this stuff. Just read and take in and process. Matty Gunner says in chat, I've blocked 5 people today, considered friends, because I'm sick of every time there's an atrocity. It's, well, what about insert other atrocity? Hot takes mean nothing to the dead. Rant over. Yeah, that's Matty Gunner's words, and I understand what you're coming from there. I really do. And there's lives lost, right? There's pain and suffering, and that's going to cause some impassioned views. And I give people a little bit of leeway on that. I think it's up to me to not get overact or get super passionate about someone's take about a tough situation. I think that just causes it to spill on out. So I'm getting what you're putting down, Matty. Kingsport House says, can't wait to catching the Wangers tonight. Yeah, there you go. Switch. Let's just take a breath. Switch. I'm on the Wangers tonight, live about 8 o'clock. Going to be fun. I'm going to talk about my album, all the kind of good stuff there. So support us over there. Going to be fun. And we'll probably talk a little bit about this. The Real McCoy says, it's hard to process this madness. We're getting this on a daily basis. It's exhausting. LQ's here. LQ channel member. Such awful news. Yeah, that's the other thing, too. And I think as I scroll through the timeline, you can kind of get updates with me here. It's so constant, everything. That's why even, last week talking about some of the crime stats conversations with the folks at Target, talking about the Speaker of the House stuff. It's all part of it. It's all part of, someone says this, it means this, this affects this, and we're just hammered every day, which is part of the scroll problem. But and that's why it's going back to what I said at the top of the show. I think it's okay. I think it's very much okay to unplug for a while. To just go watch a show about people talking about Batman. I don't want to participate in those shows on a daily basis anymore. And I would question, I I would ask you to question the hosts of those shows that never want to look outside of what their favorite Batman cape is. But I also understand the value of just going and unplugging and having those things. As a comic, I think there's a balance. When I take the stage, I want to say things that make you think. I really do. I want to talk about things that are real and deep and find the humor in them, or find insight in the humorous takes on it. But I also think it's important to have a good dick joke every now and then. I just think the world needs it all. Again, going back to this is the world we live in. Blast Rock Gaza as Israel retaliates. Don't forget to catch Game 2 of the NLDS tonight. It is what it is. You know, here I am. I'm having fun with you all here, and I'm going to let you know where you can get my comedy album. But also, isn't this horrible? And that's part of what I think you're talking about, Real McCoy. We're just every day hammered with this. Hey, Bador's in chat. She's a channel member. Hello indeed, Bador. What goes on in the Middle East, Bador knows. She's more of a policy expert than I would say I am. Kingsword Cow talking about East Tennessee, which is a great part of the world. I love East Tennessee. Beautiful. Nice people. Even if I don't want to know all their voting records, I do think there's some wonderful people out there. And I think there's wonderful people everywhere. And that's maybe where my mind goes in some of this, too, as I look at the updates, as you look at the updates, really. There's some wonderful people in the world. And there's not every group. Bador says, I know nothing. I just play video games, man. And you know what? That's all right too. I think that is all right. 9 U.S. citizens dead in Israel in the Israel conflict. Yeah, there you go. So there you go. That's kind of the story. I knew, I didn't want to shy away from doing any kind of episode like I had scheduled. Despite the world being what it's at. I don't want to do that anymore. I did that for years on other shows. I want to face the world. I don't necessarily have to have every correct take on the world. I just want to face the world. And that's where I'm at. The sin of silence versus silently learning. That's where I'm at today. And I hope you're okay today. Sip your coffee. I didn't stir the cream in properly. And with a big frosty mustache, you got to make sure you don't have caffeine in your mustache the rest of the day. Take a moment for yourself today. Take a deep breath. Go outside. Go for a walk. Pet a dog. Eat a donut. Wear a bathrobe late into the day. Do something for yourself today. The world is truly horrible. The world's always been truly horrible. We are just seeing it happen in real time in front of us. And Real McCoy says, if there's time this week, hoping for a Red Dead Redemption stream. People need it. Unfortunately, I'll say Real McCoy, I'm not going to have time this week because I'm flying out Wednesday morning to New York City doing comedy with Mark Ellis, Jen Sturger, Kyle Lewis, Vince Chang. We're at the New York Comedy Club Thursday and Friday night. So come on out, and we'll do some jokes about this. I'm kidding. I'm sure someone will try. Not me. I got other things to say. But thanks for those who are checking in. Thanks for those hanging out. Channel members get to watch this live. Yeah, live. But you can watch later. And this is just me hanging out. We got more things on this channel. We got full interviews and shows. We got Our Biggest Win with Robbie Smith is out now. We have got the interview with Matt Knudsen from last week. Talking about Joyous Pursuits. His book just came out today or yesterday. I got it. Check it out. Also, yeah, and here it is. This, just like you should watch playoff baseball tonight while looking at the horrors in the Middle East, you should also buy my comedy album when it comes out tomorrow. There's no other way to do it. Ken Napzok in My Day, live from the Harrison Pub in London. Special edition is available on Bandcamp, kennapzok.bandcamp.com. That link will be live tonight if you watch The Wanger Show. I'm going to make it live during the show. All right? It's all right. Be good. Spread kindness. Maybe don't spread violence, hate, and passionate takes that aren't necessarily needed right now. Be like Bador, who says, I did all that. Pet a dog, had a donut, and in an imperial bathrobe. That's the way you do it. Have fun. Hang in there. We'll see you all soon here on 20 Minutes of Coffee.